Hello and welcome to Walk to Cinema Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, Mad Max Fury Road, which is the first Mad Max movie I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it this year in the year 2022, so I'm kind of late to the game. I know you've watched several of them.
I've watched all of them, so I'm going to preface it by saying I don't think this is the best one. I know people really hold this highly, like really highly, and think is one of the best movies of the 2010s. I like it a lot. I like all the Mad Max franchise. I don't think any of them are particularly good. They're just really, really fun. And the world building is captivating. And I mentioned this movie in the Dune episode because I thought I would have an experience with Dune similar to this. But I just don't like Dune. And this one I think is really, really fun. And the world building is captivating to me. Yeah,
this one is fun. Like you said, I'm not sure that it's the greatest thing ever, right? You know, like, I feel like maybe I'm not the target audience.
Yeah, definitely not.
Even though, you know, it is kind of a feminist movie, you know? You got Furiosa, yeah. Charlize Theron, who is a, you know, kind of a slave herself, you know?
Yeah.
And she's saving the slaves.
Yeah.
Like the sex slaves.
That's cool and all, but it's not a great plot. Like, the plot is very thin. You're kind of in this as an action movie for the action. The plot is just like a road trip movie that doesn't really go very far with it.
Right.
They go to the promised land, and then they come back. That's it. That's the plot. And then throughout the way, they get into, like, high-octane fights.
Yeah.
And people will praise this, saying, oh, but it's all, or not all, but, like, most of it is practical effects. And that's cool and all, but it doesn't make the movie better from a story perspective.
Yeah, from a story perspective, it is kind of lackluster. Like, the characters, I think, in and of themselves, like, just watching this without watching any other, like, Mad Max movies, like, they kind of fall a little flat.
Yeah, Max himself is super flat in this.
Yeah.
I think Mad Max, the first one, is my favorite, which is not super highly regarded at all. But that's the one where you actually get a story about Max. Mm-hmm. And this one, yeah, like, oh, his kid died. He gets flashbacks or whatever, but that's not why you're watching this. The flashbacks are very unimportant. They actually feel, like, intrusive at points. Mm-hmm. Where, like, why are we getting flashbacks instead of a car chase?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. But, I mean, I think it does do a good job in terms of, like, world building.
It does. You, like really buy into it. You don't question it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the sets are pretty cool. And
it's a desert.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the
the
places,
town.
Yeah, the town and stuff like that. But I mean, like, it's the car scenes are fun. Yeah. I think it's hilarious that they have some man just, like, strapped to the front of a car, and
he's
then,
the
like,
blood bag.
You know, yeah, because he's a blood bag, and I was like, that's so quirky. And then you also have, like, the guitar man and just, like, a band, like, playing music while you drive.
How are you supposed to drive without a band?
I don't know, but
it is silly.
Like,
but I don't
really
question
silly.
it. I don't question it. I think it's silly in a good way. I wish they showed more of other towns, because they mentioned, like, Gastown. Like, they don't really go into it, which is not what they're trying to do. I get it, but I don't know. All the other ones, even, like, the Thunderdome, Into the Thunderdome, which is, like, the one no one likes. And I think it is the worst. It definitely is the worst one of them, but, like, at least it shows cool stuff that they're doing instead of car chases in the desert.
Right. Well, I think they're going to make more movies, right?
Yeah, they're making a direct sequel to this. I think Charlize Theron is not in it, though.
Yeah, so
Furiosa got recasted. I think it is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh.
That's what I think. I might be wrong. This is not a news podcast. Don't take my news seriously.
Yeah, but, you know, I feel like for maybe those of you that haven't seen Mad Max Fury Road, I think you do a better job at, like, kind of describing the plot.
Well, it is the Furiosa, which is like the leader of the women, or like the main wife of the villain, because he has multiples. Like, there's just breathers. Like, he has wives that he gets pregnant, and that's it. He also has women that he uses for milk, but those don't escape. So only the breathers escape with Furiosa, and that's it. She's trying to get him back where she was from, which is like an all-female utopia. And Max also gets kind of mixed in this, because he's used as literally a blood bag for one of the guys in the pursuit vehicles, where he needs blood because he's like kind of dying. They're all addicted to drugs, and they're all kind of half dead.
Right.
And yeah, they need the blood bag, or the one particular one needs it, and then the car crashes, whatever, and then he tries to rob the women of their possessions, the water and the car, the big vehicle they have with the water tank. There's other small elements throughout, like she needs to bribe her way through the valley. Yeah. With the water. But that's, kind of unimportant. You're just going from action set to action set. It is an incredible action movie. Yeah. In that sense, where you're never bored. Even if the story doesn't matter to you, you're not visually bored at any point. The editing also facilitates that. And I know George Miller wanted to make this in black and white, which I think is wrong, because the colors were really popping, and the saturation was really, like, helping the action at points. But, I mean, who am I to question him? He started all this Mad Max stuff, and he directed Happy Feet, so...
Good for him, I do want to correct you on one thing, that Furiosa is the, she's a war captain. Okay. Under Immortal Joe, or whatever the main character. She's the main woman in the... But she's not, like, one of his wives. Like, she doesn't have children for him. Like the other ones.
She didn't. I guess, yeah, you're right. But yeah, you get introduced to other characters, mostly the sons of Joe, which are all goofy and, like, half-baked. Let me say it like that, I guess. Yeah. They're not all there.
Yeah, to some degree, like, all of them have something, and he really, quote-unquote,
really,
wrong with them.
Like, he really, really wants it back, because his favorite breather is pregnant with his son, which dies in the movie.
Yeah. But it's just about, like, power and control at that point. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people that consider this very much a feminist cinema, It is I mean, it literally is. Like, I don't know how you could say it's not. It's a feminist action set piece. Right. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's just... It's not something that I think I would immediately go to, I just wouldn't think about it, because I think of this as more of like an action movie. Like a purely both. Action movie.
It's both. Every movie has a message, and people don't want to accept that sometimes. But like every movie is like political. Like Star Wars, people are saying it's political now because it has a gay character or a trans character. The first one was political. The first one is about the U.S. government, The U.S. government is the bad guys in the first Star Wars movie. George Lucas said that himself, so everything is political to some extent.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess. But it's not so, like, overtly political, I guess.
I mean, what's the politics in this? Don't let the big guy use the weak women? That's, like, are you against that? Like, politically, does it matter, like, what political side you're on? It's women being abused by men. I think that's bad no matter what.
Well, yeah, but I think it's also, like, more than that. Just in terms of, like, the world building, where he's, like, you see the instance where everybody's waiting for the water, and he has the supply to, like, give everyone water, but he likes the power of being able to control it.
Yeah, he cuts it off early. Yeah. So, don't get too greedy. Don't get used to it. The water's gonna control you if you...
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, that's not a new concept either. Like, they've always said that, whoever controls the water controls the people, because water is such a vital source.
Especially here where it's hard to get.
Yeah. It's
one of the most important things you can get. Also, gas is really important. That's why the gas people negotiate with the water people. They need each other.
Yeah, because the world has ended, but they still have their cool little vehicles that they ride around. And, they get to drink mommy's milk and drive their cars. And they don't need anything else. Well, they need their little spray drug that they put in their mouth. Yeah. Oh, that little, it looks like, to me, it always looked like silver spray paint.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. But it's whatever makes them go, woo,
It makes them go crazy. That's what gives them, it kind of wakes them up and gives them the power of pursuit. I don't know.
Yeah.
They get really hyper, so they're good to go.
One of the things that I guess didn't, I mean, we've kind of talked about it, where it's like the story is lackluster, but it also, I feel like it feels rushed in a way, where it's like a whole lot of nothing in the middle in terms of plot line, and then it's like, oh, now we're gonna go back and try to, get to the home base before the evil guy does. And within that kind of nothingness, you have Nicholas Hoult, who plays the lead, like, not the lead, like, zombie guy. I don't really know what they're called, to be honest. War Boys, I think, is what they're called, actually.
They're called the half-breeds, I don't know.
Okay.
I forgot.
I think they're called the War Boys, to be honest. I'm gonna call them War Boys. If that's wrong, I'm sorry, but he's like the one that's the lead that you see throughout the film. He goes from idolizing Joe to completely turning on him very quickly, in my opinion.
That character is, again, what they did in Star Wars with the stormtrooper that leaves the stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Here, it's not the main focus at all.
Well, it's not the main focus, but I'm saying that's really quickly. You bring up the Star Wars one, but that's like the plot. That's like that's the beginning thing. It's like you don't really need to know you don't really see Finn, because that's what his name is in Star Wars. You don't really see Finn like being with the like bad guys ever. You see that he doesn't want to,
because it's a Disney movie.
Well, yeah, but you don't see that like progression, so I don't think it's a fair comparison, because it's like you start off like him defecting.
Well, it is the comparison of like a small time member of the group, or like, I guess not small time, but it's like relatively unimportant if he dies or not.
That's controversial, I will say. Very controversial. Whether
like
Finn dies or not.
The like all the stormtroopers they have, they don't care if one of them dies.
Yeah, I mean for one of but like
it's just a number for the bad guys, but for the good guys, he's like very important.
Yeah,
he's like the difference maker at points. Mm-hmm. And then they defect. So that's the comparison. It's obviously different movies, and here it's not the main focus. His character's kind of the most annoying one to me. They played a little too goofy, where like, I don't buy it that this guy was the one that could catch them at any point.
Oh, I mean, because I think that what they were trying to go for more than like, oh, he has the strategic ability, he just has like
he's mediocre.
The gung-ho-ness, you know what I mean? Like he's going to stop at nothing because he feels like he has things to prove. Like he wants to go to. They have the concept of Valhalla.
Well, yeah, Immortal Joe has him like brainwashed to thinking that if you die a warrior, you go to warrior heaven. Mm-hmm. Maybe they do. we didn't get to see.
No. But I mean, kind of like pivoting from the plot line to like, I guess, production, I thought it was kind of interesting that the idea for this movie came to the director in like the late 80s, and he tried to get it made for years, and it just kept getting delayed, and like had pre-production like development hell kind of thing.
Honestly, this would have been worse with Mel Gibson.
I think he was like set to play him because it was like they started the pre-production in 1998, and it was said that shooting was going to start in the 2000s, but it got delayed due to 9/11 and like the Iraqi War, and then the controversies with Mel Gibson, with like his little...
He was canceled for a while.
Yeah, he went through some stuff.
I also know that George Miller did this as like a storyboard first before writing it, which kind of does translate, to be honest. It is more visual than storytelling, which is fine. Again, it is, especially for what it's going for, to be like this massive action movie in this massive world. It does work good. Not great, but it does work really good. It's very entertaining all the way through, and I like watching it. Like it's something that I like putting on because I legitimately think it's one of the more fun, brain dead type movies.
Yeah, but there are people that truly love this movie.
Yeah, they think it's a masterpiece
and think it's like top movies of the 2010s.
I mean, if that's the movie you love the most, it's fine. Not everyone's gonna like other story-focused, slow burn films. Like, when Marriage Story was getting a lot of praise, I also saw the opposite of, like, this is two people yelling at each other. That's it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's it. It's a movie where two people yell at each other. I'm supposed to think this is a masterpiece? And this is, like, the opposite of that. It's people that don't talk to each other. They just drive fast, and that's a masterpiece.
They drive fast and shoot at each other. Which, also, I really enjoyed, the parts where it was like some people survived certain things and then felt like they died due to lesser extremes, where it's like they both survived going through this like tornado thing.
Yeah.
This desert tornado that was,
Because the movie kind of set up, if your car doesn't explode, you're not dying.
Yeah.
If you crash and, like, roll around for an hour, you're fine because it didn't explode.
Yeah. You didn't die in a fiery explosion.
When there's an explosion, you definitely die every single time. So,
yeah.
I guess that's the rule.
I guess so. But I just thought it was funny. Not that it has anything to do with anything. It's just kind of funny. And it's a good time because I feel like it's such a ridiculous premise at times. That it really works for just the good time, but I don't know if it necessarily works for me thinking it's like a masterpiece, No,
yeah, I don't even see it how you could think it is. Like, I've seen people be like, oh, but it's they did a lot of it by hand. They didn't use special effects. It's all practical. Yeah, that doesn't matter.
I mean, they did that with like the Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, where a lot of their stuff was done by hand. And I mean, it did the final movie in the trilogy did win Best Picture and all this stuff. But...
Sure, it looks better and it's cooler. Of course, like, we don't want actors. Actors in front of a green screen is not the same. You're not going to accomplish the same as you're going to do, like, on location. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make the movie a masterpiece or not. Like, that's not the difference maker, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. It kind of all has to work, and I feel like, for me personally, not all the elements.
I also see people saying it's a masterpiece as an action movie.
Yeah, and I would agree with that.
Not as a movie in general.
I would agree with that, potentially.
Yeah, but people also think that, like, Mission Impossible Fallout is great as an action movie.
Well, I've never seen that, so...
I don't know. Action movies are not our cup of tea.
No, they're definitely not,
but they're fun, and I know a lot of people like this one.
Yeah. Like, action movies are definitely not the movies that we gravitate towards, so definitely, like, take this with a grain of salt, and we don't diss people that action movies are their thing.
No, but we did want to watch this, and we did want to cover this.
Yeah.
Like when we did Dune is because we do all the Best Picture nominees, and we're kind of, like, down on it. We're like, we didn't really want to watch this and make an episode about it, but we're doing everything else.
Yeah.
But this one, we're, like, got out of our way to do it. I wanted to watch the movie. I was really feeling like watching some type of Mad Max movie, and this was the one on HBO Max.
Yeah.
At the time, I think it's not there anymore. The distribution rights are always weird on this. Because Mad Max 2 was like the one that first got into the US. And I think a different distribution company bought the rights to it. I don't really know. It doesn't matter, but you don't need one to enjoy the other. Again, because Mad Max backstory really doesn't matter, even though they try to kind of pretend it does with the flashbacks.
Right. I mean, maybe once I watch all of them, because I will eventually, because I know you like them, and
yeah, even Into the Thunderdome is fun.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that we'll come back to this, and I'll like it more once I have the full Mad Max universe in my mind. I mean, maybe not, but
I like this type of like Ozploitation, like the Australia Outback exploitation films are always really fun. Wake and Fright is a really good one. We watch BMX Bandits, which is less of an exploitation film, but still it is like an early Nicole Kidman Australia movie. And they're always really fun. So if you really like the Mad Max ones, especially the two first ones, do get into other exploitation. Wake and Fright is great. Animal abuse, trigger warning for that, but besides that, it's great. And there's just a lot, and you get into this rabbit hole of it, and if you think they're fun, you're never gonna get out.
Yeah, but I think we should give our ratings and kind of wrap this episode up.
Okay, I give it a 6 out of 10 the first time and now, because it is fun. I'm not gonna rate it negatively, but it is kind of, as they say multiple times, mediocre, because it doesn't accomplish anything new, in my opinion. But it is a great action movie, and it is great, like, road trip wise. Like, for a road trip movie, like when you just want a plot that keeps on going forward and doesn't like circle back to it, because this was even shot in sequence, which you can do pretty easily with this because the plot is like one way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun and simple for brain dead nights sometimes.
I also gave it a 6, but kind of for different reasons, I think. I did enjoy it. I did have a good time. But like I said before, action movies and this particular type of action movie that doesn't capture me with its plot line, I think I'm not the target audience for that. I think I like action movies that focus kind of more heavily on plotline, so that I feel like I have something to kind of gravitate towards, because the action scenes in themselves don't necessarily impress me all the time, you know?
So what's your favorite action movie?
I could not tell you off the top of my head.
I couldn't tell you one either. I can't think of like an action movie that I love.
I'll definitely think about it, and maybe we'll talk about it. I'm going
through my ratings
on an episode.
The purest action movie I have here, I'm gonna say, is Aliens, or maybe The Raid. I love that one.
The Raid's good.
But everything else that I have as action rated highly, my little letterbox account, is mostly other genres.
Maybe Hot Fuzz, but that's, also a comedy. So.
Yeah, it's an action comedy.
Action comedy. And I mean, that plotline's not crazy, but it's also kind of silly and stupid. And there is a plotline,
I know you like the Kill Bills.
Yeah, the Kill Bills are good.
But even stuff like if I say I love Inglourious Bastards, it's also a comedy. It's also historic. If I say I love, I don't know, Inception, it's more of a thriller. So it's hard for me, a pure action movie. The Raid is really good. And it's also a pretty straightforward story. But to me, it's more entertaining. It's I think if you're gonna do a movie where the action is bigger than the story, don't make the story so big.
Right.
And The Raid does that. With Mad Max, the story is
it is kind of big. There's a lot
big.
Of...
it hits a lot of spots.
Big too, yeah.
But that could be good.
Yeah.
But even though it feels kind of empty, it feels like you drive from one point to the other, and in between there's nothing but space to fight.
Right.
So, I don't know. I still like it, and I'll be watching it again
when
I get bored and want some fast and fun.
Yeah, Fast and Furious. But I am looking forward to watching this again and watching the rest of the Mad Max series. So, I mean, maybe one day in the future we'll talk about another Mad Max movie. But for now, I think that is a wrap on this episode. So don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment if you can, and we'll see you next time.